Hello, everybody, and welcome to this new episode of Spanish Loops. Hola, Jorge.
Hola, Frank, ¿cómo estás? How are you?
I'm doing here fantastic. How about yourself? How are you doing on the other side?
Not bad, thank you very much. Everything's good as usual. You know, just the same old thing, and healthy, and working a lot. That's the main thing.
Hey, no complaints about that one.
Oh, not at all, not at all.
Okay, so welcome everybody to this new episode of Spanish Loops. This is Fran from Traveling Steps, and on the other side, my good friend Jorge with travelingwithjorge.com.
That's right. Thank you, Fran. Yes, that's correct.
So today we are going to be talking about one of these big doubts that international tourists have when they arrived into Spain.
Well,
And
no,
that is,
I wouldn't say international tourists because there are some tourists that they don't tip at all.
oh, well, there we go. So, well,
And
the topic
I
today,
just said about.
there we go. The topic today, it is to tip or not to tip. That is the question.
That's the question, yeah.
Should you tip in Spain? Should you not tip in Spain? Is it customary to tip in Spain? Is it not customary to tip in Spain?
Hmm.
That's what we're going to be talking today.
Yeah.
So, Jorge, let us know a little bit what's your thought about it, what you think we should do. Should we tip or not tip?
Well, that is it's a very interesting question because in some countries in Europe and worldwide, it's not. It could be even an insult to tip. You know, like for instance, I know that in Japan that you shouldn't tip at all, and also some other places they don't have that custom of giving a tip per se, although it's kind of globalizing a little bit. But here in Spain is like I would say for the Mediterranean countries more than Central Europe and Northern European countries. Um, it is so different than what it is in the, let's say, North America, and I guess also South America as well, but more North America. I mean, Fran, you and I shared a long time ago with some other friends in Times Square in New York
Yeah.
at 25% off the bill as a tip. I was just furious. And it was just a pizza. My goodness. I think that was too much. What do you think about it?
Well, the thing is that I understand where Americans are coming from. I mean, the United States, especially. Uh, Once again, when we talk about America, we talk about all the continent, from all the way from Argentina, all the way to Canada,
Yeah.
all the way to Alaska, but especially the United States. Uh, Waiters are paid very low salaries, and you need to give them a tip so they complete the salary. The thing is that for us, at 20% or 25% of the ticket, that is like
No.
insane. I mean, it
Too much.
drives us crazy because when we go to a restaurant here in Europe, first of all, taxes are included when they give you a price. So when you go to a restaurant, it's plus tax plus tip, which is like almost a 50% over.
Yeah.
So it's really crazy how much
Yeah.
from what is said that you're gonna pay all of those extras. It's way too much. So for us, paying a 25% tip, it is way too much, especially if there's not a service. I mean, when you go to a Starbucks, are you gonna do it yourself, or you know, Europeans, we don't get it.
Yeah, I agree totally with you. Although, let's be honest, even if it is I mean, fast food places, by all means, I barely touch those places, or I barely step into those places, fast food. But I mean, you're just ordering now. In many of these places, you're ordering on a screen, and then you just get a ticket, and you go to the counter, and when they shout out your number, is when you pick up your food, right?
Yeah,
So, I mean, there's no sense to me to give a tip to anybody there
yeah.
at
I
all.
mean, to me, there's no service. I mean, and to me,
Right. That's right. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
tip is for good service. And then,
Mhm.
okay, at 25,
No,
no
no,
way.
no
That's
way,
way
no way.
too.
But it all depends because if you apply literally the numbers, sometimes could sound a little bit outrageous and sometimes could be a little bit short. Okay, let's put it in this context. Fran, let's say that you and your wife, Ainhoa, you go to a romantic dinner to a nice
Mhm.
place that you want to treat yourself, and let's say it's 60 euros per head and it's 120. and you had an excellent service and you went to a cozy place and it's your anniversary and then you wanted to, or your wife's birthday, and you wanted to greet her at the end of the dinner with a little cake with a candlelight just to, just celebrate her birthday, etc. And the waiter is a little bit accomplished with you, or the waiting staff in general. So let's say if it is 120 euros, this full dinner, how much would you give for that kind of service, which has
Uh,
been excellent?
In Spain,
Yeah.
I would not give more than 20.
And that is
A big, huge tip.
very generous thing.
Yeah. I mean, I was like,
It's a
phew.
very generous thing, right? So 20 euros out of 120 is like about how much? 15% or something like
Yeah,
that, more or less.
15%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that is because it's something very special. You have very good moment there. They were a little bit of complicity with the staff, etc., etc. But if you go just for a working dinner, it costs you like about 20, 25 euros. I personally will give like about one, maybe 150.
I
If,
mean, if now that you pay with credit card
yeah,
here in Spain, okay, first tip for our listeners. Here in Spain, if you tip on the credit card, the waiters many times will not get that tip.
I would say not many
Okay.
times. I would say I will never see that.
Never. Yeah. So please, always give, if you want to give a tip, give it cash. Because if you give it on a credit card, chances are that the boss is going to get that money and
Yeah,
the waiters and the chefs in the kitchen will not get to see that money.
that's true. That's true. Yeah. But anyway, now that we're talking about restaurants, let's say that wedding staff here, they do get a relatively decent salary. Okay, whether if the salary is good or not, that is another issue. But they have a working wages. Okay, it's
Yeah.
not minimum salary wages like it is in many countries. Here there is unions behind. For a certain number of hours, you have to be paid at least the minimum salary, which is how much is the minimum salary right now? I think it's about 1,200 a
I
month,
think it's
something
about
like that.
1200 a month. Yeah.
Around
That's the
1,200
minimum
a
they're going to
month.
get.
Yeah. But I mean, that's their salary. Okay. And then I always say that a gratitude is always welcome. So if you go to one of those meal deals that we have all over Spain, Menú del Día, that we have done a podcast about that in the past,
Mhm.
um, those normally are, let's say, around 15 euros. Now with inflation, it's gone up to 15. Some places are
Mhm.
17, some places are 14, but an average of 15. I mean, if you are served very fast, very quick, and you go there regularly because it's just next door to your working place, and you having a full meal with a waiter that knows you, etc., etc., I would give like about just 1 euro per
Yeah.
head.
1 euro is more
Yeah,
than enough.
more than enough. Okay, 1 euro out of 15, it's less than 10%. So
Mhm.
here we see a little bit how it varies for what we said before. But now, on the other hand, if you get into a taxi, and anywhere in Spain, taxis, they go on the meter, okay? And
Mhm.
let's say that your ride is 13 euros 10. I always round up
There we go.
to 14.
That's what I do.
But as you said, now as we almost everything is paid now with credit cards. You just give the card and that's it. Then, but if you pay by cash or if you want to leave any tip, just what many people call silly money. I don't understand that term. I'll let you know in a minute why. And that's something to do with my mother. Those coins that when you go to a foreign country and then you
Yeah.
you
Those
have to agree,
spare
you
coins
don't
that
know
you don't
what
know
to
what to
do
do
with
with them.
them, you know.
Uh-huh.
Okay, if you have some of that coins, I mean, try to avoid to give away the little ones, but the bigger ones, like the 20 or 50 cents, if you
Mhm.
have a couple of those, just give it to the driver. Okay, that's a nice little gesture. Now, talking about that silly money, silly money, and that thing that always reminds me to my mother. Just a couple of days ago, I went to do my shopping, and then just the lady at the counter, she said, I just gave her, I think it was a 50 euros thing, paper money. And she said to me, I'm terribly sorry, I have to give you all the change in coins because I don't have
Oh,
any paper money. And I said, oh, no worries. Hey, if you have a sack about this high filled with them and you don't want them, give them to me. It's money. You
It's
know?
money. Yeah. I mean, it's not stupid
Yeah.
money. It's
That's
money.
what my mom used to say. Oh, just give me a sack of those. I'll see if I can get it
Not
or
stupid
not.
money.
Yeah, that's
Well, yeah.
excuse me. But anyway, it's like I say, the more that you give, the happier you make them. And of course, uh, the funny part is that you've probably seen it as well, Francisco, that in many places when you give a tip, there is even a bell that they ring it when they
Yeah.
put the money into the bucket, which is and it is spread all over the stuff every single night normally. That's how it
Yeah.
is.
So it's not, I mean, leaving a tip on a restaurant, it's not mandatory. Like in the United States, it's mandatory to leave a tip. Here
Well, I
is
mean, here they're not
appreciated.
gonna chase you after if you don't
No,
tip. Here
they're
they don't.
gonna run behind you. You didn't leave a tip. Here, it's gonna be if you leave a tip, it's gonna be very well seen. Not necessary to me in a restaurant. Yes, I always leave a little tip. Again, if it's 19 or 18 euros, I will leave 20, like a euro 20, €2 maximum for a
Yeah.
lunch. Okay. On a taxi, I don't normally tip. I just round up. If it's, as you said, 1920 or 1980, 20. That's it. I
Yeah.
don't care if it's 5 cents or 80 cents. Nothing. What about hairdresser? I'm bald. I don't go to the hairdresser.
You mean your barber?
My barber, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't go to do that. So
There, there
I
is
know in
no,
the
there
United
is no
States,
barbers in Pamplona that they miss you at all.
other barbers, but I don't need them. I don't require their
I mean,
job as I
missing
am
you, missing
bald.
you.
Well, I don't go to see them. Anyway, in America, it's customary to leave them a tip.
Yeah.
Do you give them a tip here to your barber?
Actually, I do, but you know why? Because it's been
Why?
my barber. Yes, I do. It's been my barber for the last 15 years. I have
Okay.
in my YouTube channel, I have a
Mhm.
called Traveling with Jorge. I have a video clip with him that he when just after the COVID, the pandemic, when they reopened, there were so many strict laws in the distance that the seats should be placed, etc., etc., etc. So he redid his place in a way that I felt so impressed about his work. I asked him if he could do me the favor to record the entire haircut while I was
Mhm. I
sitting there.
remember that video.
Right? Remember that video, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we are very confident for the last 15 years since I've been living in this.
Okay.
Well, I've been living here more than that, more than 15 years. But when I found him, yeah, I mean, he's so. I mean, if you go to somewhere that is mainstream street barber, and you go and have your hair cut in one of those barbers, they might charge you 18, 20, 22 euros. It depends a little bit on the neighborhood. If you go to a fancy one, of course, it's going to be 50, 60 euros. But this one here just charges me 11.50.
Okay. So,
So I always give him 13 euros.
okay.
Always. It's like a thing.
But
I
I wouldn't say that it's
it's not custom. It's not a custom. It's not.
for
It's
example, my
something.
wife, I know when she goes to her dressing salon, she doesn't tip.
Oh, she
Doesn't
doesn't.
even think about it.
Uh-huh. Right.
So she's been going to the same one forever. So
Uh-huh.
so okay.
And sometimes don't forget that being so confident, if I just appear there without previous notice and I said to the owner, "Hey, Fermin, do you have a place for me now to have my haircut?" I mean, you see this is done in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Seriously, he just gets his and he's done, right?
Done.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he has okay, wait there and I'll call you now. So within 10 minutes, he's calling me, and between one and another, in 5 minutes, he has my hair
Yeah.
done.
You don't need to get an
Happy.
appointment or
And of
anything.
course, you just have to take a little bit of I can how can you call that um, gratitude with them.
Yeah, it's just gratitude.
Yeah, that's
But
right.
it's not as in America that it's a formal tip.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Okay, what about hotels? Okay,
Oh,
bellboys.
yeah, yeah,
A bellboy in the hotel, I only tip like €1, €2, a couple of coins.
yeah. Well, it all depends. If I go on my own, I normally carry my bags and I don't accept any help at all.
Well,
Uh,
but what we're talking is for our listeners when they come to Spain, if it they should tip or not tip.
okay, yeah, I get it now. All right. Let's say that you have like about just one roller and you don't need help. Okay, just a
Mhm.
cabin luggage. You don't really need to because you're not going to have any help. Now, it all depends in the hotel that you go. If you go to a top 4 or 5 stars hotels, obviously you're going to be not forced but obligated to accept their help. So in a way, you'll have to tip them. So I my suggestion would be to have some fibers in your pocket, and then to the bellboy, just give him a fiber for the bag.
A
Uh,
5 euro?
oh yeah, in 5 stars
I,
hotels, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I would go for two. If I'm by myself, couple of euros and that's it.
No, in 5 stars. That's my opinion. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
don't get me wrong. Yeah, €5, and you know the thing is that when you go out and you are in that kind of generous tip,
Yeah.
they will go to you immediately. Oh, you need a taxi? I'll get it for you. And so everything that you need, you have it done straight away. And then at the very end, if I'm staying 3, 4, 5 days, then I give them another 5 or even 10. But to me means, I mean, €5 and €10 I had to sweat to make
Yeah.
like everybody. Okay. But hey, if that could make some young boy a little bit happier, why not? It's not, it's
Okay.
just sense. Another thing is when you are with a family, okay? You go with a family or just with your wife and you have 2, 3 bags, then normally is in 5 stars hotel, there is a kind of a non-written law that minimum is €5 per bag.
Okay.
Yeah. And then also minimum €5 per night of stay to the lady,
Mates.
yeah, the mates, that's right. My recommendation on this, don't give it to the maid that is on your floor. Don't leave the money in your room. Just try to find the head of the housekeepers and give it to them.
Yeah.
Okay, that is my recommendation because I have witnessed many times that trying to be nice to all the people that it was in my floor, all the cleaning stuff that they were in
Yeah.
my floor, giving the money to one of in this case was a lady,
Hmm.
and she just kept it for her because the next time I went there, it's a place I normally go like about a couple of times a year. Uh, then I called once it was there, just the boss of the
Hmm.
housekeepers, and she said, "Oh, very nice of you." I said, "Well, the other times." And then I noticed something in her face, and
Right.
there was no need to communicate that she never knew that I left before some tips for everybody. So that's because that's the reason why I'm telling you, just always give it to if you want to give some tips in reception, call the head receptionist, call the head housekeeper, and bellboys are a totally different thing. Okay, that's I mean, you just give a tip to them, but that's it. But now, Francisco, I have a question for you. What
Okay.
about if you have any food delivered to your home? Do you tip the delivery man?
Uh, so no, I don't.
You don't.
I mean, if it's the groceries, I don't. If
Yeah,
it's something like mm, pizza, home delivered pizza, food that has been prepared,
yeah.
then yes, yes, because it's fast and it comes right to you. It has to be warm and all of that. So if it's just the groceries, I don't. If it is food to eat, right away, yes, then I tip. I
Uh,
tip couple 2 3 euros. Things that now you in most of these apps that you download to call for food, they ask you directly how much tip do you want to go for the driver. And in these cases, in these apps, it really goes to the driver.
I don't know if they go or not, but I just say nil in those, and I give it in cash to the person that comes to me. So I'm
I
100%.
know it goes because one of Nicolas' friends, one of my kids' friends, he
Yeah.
is one of these kids driving. around with the bicycles or
Yeah,
with
yeah, yeah.
pizzas and all of that. And when you leave them a tip, he gets it.
Oh, nice. Good,
All right.
good.
So in this case, it works. So it's he works for Glovo, Glovo,
Yeah.
which they have been in the spot for not paying well. So maybe they want to make sure that everything is as correct as possible. So
Okay.
in this case, I know that Glovo gives them the money. But if it's just the groceries from the supermarket, here in Spain, or at least here in Pamplona, if you spend more than 40 euros in the supermarket, they bring it to you. Okay. So I know, and what we do is, I mean, for the everyday little groceries, we bring it home.
Yeah.
But when you have to buy, milk
Big,
and the
big,
cleaning
big
things, and,
amounts. Yeah.
big thing, it's like we do once every 2 weeks or something, and they bring it home. And to that, I don't tip.
Hmm. Okay. Now, I'm
Hmm.
gonna bring a smile and a compromise to your face now.
Okay.
You, a tour guide, when you finish a tour,
Oof.
are you expecting a tip?
Ah. Tour
Uh,
guides. I gotta say yes. I'm gonna say that. I mean, to me, it's a very intimate relationship that we get with our customers. It's going to be 2, 3, 4 hours that we're going to be with them. And yes, I, again, if I don't get a tip, I don't get offended.
oh,
But if I get a tip,
nor me. Yeah.
yeah. But if I get a tip, I'm the happiest person in the world because I think it's something for what I have done, for what personally I have done. So I'm
The
really
appreciation of
thankful
your
for
job.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
the appreciation. Well, how about yourself?
And I agree totally with you. Of course, don't forget that we work for several companies and everyone
Yeah.
have their own terms. And this is different. When we're working with groups, it's a totally different concept. Okay.
Yeah.
We're talking about private visits.
Mhm.
That's, yeah, I agree entirely for you, with you. I'm sorry. So if I don't get a tip, okay, I'm getting paid.
Yeah.
And they agreed with my fee and I'm getting paid for that. But whatever I get after that, if I get anything, first, I just feel that, they like what I did. And second, it's I mean, to me, it's like a wow, this is like a I've done it correct. So they're happy and
You
they're
know,
treating me.
so do you know what I do with my tips?
You save them?
I say them. I
Yeah,
put them on an envelope
yeah,
and all the way until the end of the year.
yeah.
And at the end of the year, with all the tips I get, I buy something either for me or for the house, something that's going to
Oh,
stay as a memory of those tips.
uh-huh.
So I always have something that it's at the end of the year coming from the tips. I don't use those tips. I put them on a side,
Yeah,
say
I
the
do
same until
something
the
very
end of the year.
similar. I put everything in a box.
Okay.
It's not an envelope. I just toss. If it is a couple of tens or 120 or something, I just put it in a box, shoebox. And whenever I find that I don't have cash at home, I need some loose money, like about fivers or teners or something like that. I just go in there. I grab two or three. So at
Yeah.
the end of the year, there's some money left, but I don't know how much is in total.
To me, it's money that I do not touch.
Oh, well, good for you.
It's like,
Good for
okay,
you.
can I make you a complicated, also
But
uncomfortable
you're gonna
question?
make it anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I will. What is the largest tip you've ever got for tour guiding? If you've done something else in your life, I don't want to know.
Excuse me. Okay. Uh, I mean, I don't mind answering that, but I need to explain a 30-second story behind that. Because I think I got that because the person who did what he did felt very embarrassed. And he
Okay.
wanted to buy my pardon or forgiveness
Forgiveness?
with that. Yeah. So it was coming from Andalusia. It was a 5 days tour. I picked the group up in Malaga, by the way. They arrived to Malaga and they have to make a couple of stops for working purposes. It was a group of teenagers with some professors. I'm not going to say what kind of working they were going to make because
Mhm.
if I do say what they were doing, they probably, if they hear this,
Yeah.
They want to know what happened, right? So we had to make a couple of stops, one in Granada and the other one in Cordoba. And then it was just in between Granada and Cordoba. I mean, I always tell my people, hey, this is a weird track that there is not a proper way. This is years ago before a highway. I mean, I'm talking about early 2000, maybe.
Mm.
I think it was just the year 2000. No, no. Wait a minute. It was 2003. It was
Okay.
1 year after the Euro. 1 year
Okay.
after the Euro. Yeah, now it just came to my mind. So it was a very complicated track that there were not going to be any place to eat at all. So apparently he didn't hear that part when I said that. So halfway through, he just came to me in the bus and said, "Oh, we need to stop. These kids are hungry." And then I said to him, "Well, I'm sorry, but I didn't mention that the other day, and there is no places here." Well, so he started just going mad to me. One of the ladies tried to tranquilize him, saying he did mention that. Oh, I should have told. You should have told me. So anyway, among them, the chaperones of the group,
Mhm.
they were like a kind of a little bit of a
A
tense
coral.
situation. So guess what we did the first time? The first thing when we got into Cordoba, it was just to go and find a place to eat. Okay. So anyway, I felt really embarrassed up to the point that I called the manager of that company, direct phone to the manager because I have a cell phone in those days. And I said, look, I'm sorry, but I'm just leaving the group here. I've been insulted. I've been ridiculized
Abused.
here. And I'm sorry, I cannot deal with this. Oh, please don't, because I can't find, etc., etc., etc. So I said, okay, Jorge, take a deep breath. It's only 2 days left. So it
You
was
can do
almost a non-talking thing between this person in charge of the group and me. Everything was through the chaperones. Okay. Anyway, the last day at the airport, I remember perfectly that I had a back-to-back tour with another company and I had to fly from Madrid to Lisbon. So I just took him to the counter. They were flying back to the States. I took him to the counter. I was so pissed off with the group that I didn't even want to help them to do the checkup, the check-in. So I just said, okay, this is your counter. Thank you all. It's been a pleasure to meet you. Good luck. Bye-bye. And then he just approaches to me and gives me an envelope, just like an envelope. It's like
Yeah.
when you get an empty envelope,
Mhm.
it's an empty envelope because you don't feel any
Yeah.
thickness. So I just said thank you, and I folded the envelope and I put it in my shirt pocket here. So I just went to find my counter, and when I was just lining up to do the check-in, I just scratched my shoulder, my chest like this, and I felt the envelope. I said, "Oh, look at the envelope," and I opened it, and it was two notes of 500 euros. It was
Oh,
1,000 euros.
a
So
1,000 euro tip.
two banknotes inside of an envelope is not thick
Nothing.
at all. So it was like, oh, whoa,
Okay.
shall I go back and hug him? Shall I just ignore the whole thing?
It's like, can I kiss you, please?
Yeah, just for 5 days, That was the biggest one I've got. Yes, for that kind of for 5 days. Yeah.
So wow, that was a good one. That was a
Yeah. No, but I mean, there are companies that they have the tip, let's say, kind of customary for all the people, and then the larger the group is, the bigger the tip is.
yeah. Mm.
What about
Okay.
you? What about you?
Me, it was a few years ago. It was during the week of the running of the bulls, and it was a very
Is that 3 years ago?
no,
Oh,
more years ago.
oh,
It was
okay.
before COVID. Before COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a group of gentlemen, very wealthy. They came in a private jet. It
Whoa.
was complicated because they were wealthy and we need these now. They were super nice, but they didn't have time to waste. So we want this now. We want this now. We want this now. It was 3 days nonstop. It was like not, I mean, 24 hours on and on and on and on and on. It was fine, but it's good. But well, it was stressing. And
Very
at
good.
the end, they gave me an envelope. It was very thick, so I didn't open it in front of them. So we were going for dinner. So I told the people at the front desk of the hotel, "Hey guys, could you please save this for me? I cannot put it on my pocket. It's way too big." They were sure, no problem. After the dinner, they left, and I went back to the hotel. I got the envelope, and it was 1,700 euros for 3 days of work. I'm like,
Whoa.
okay, I'm getting paid out of tip much, much, much more
And you were,
than what I'm gonna get out of salary.
wow, my goodness. Good for
That
you.
was it. That was only once, but it was insane. It was really like, wow, amazing, amazing, amazing. But hey, as we said, it's not mandatory, but it's very, 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 very thank it that
Oh,
people
especially
do.
when we have those kind of things, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah. I mean, to me, when somebody gives you a €5 or whatever, it's like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah,
I just want to mention here in name of both of us, Francisco as travelingsteps.es and me, Jorge, as travelingwithjorge.com. It's a work in progress. I hope it's finished soon. That our tours, they are non-tipping tours. Okay.
yeah.
So those tips those tips. Oh my goodness, those tours that we have out there for you to join us whenever you like. You don't have to worry about any of that because meals are included, the tips, the housekeeping, the hotels, the chauffeur for your bus or minivan, whatever. Everything is included, and local guides as well. And we as tour leaders, because we are the owners of the companies. So, but it's like I said at the beginning, each company has their own policy. Okay.
Mhm.
So there's no need, and we warn our people at the beginning of the welcome meeting, not warning them, it's just reminding them that
Remember, but tips are included.
yeah, tips are included. It is a non-tipping tour
There we go.
because
You
everything
don't need
is
to
included.
tip.
Yeah. So that's it. So Francisco traveling with no travelingsteps.es, that's Francisco, and mine is travelingwithjorge.com. And just in case it's not open yet, by the time you hear this, go to travelingwithjorge.wordpress.com. But anyway, both of them will be working anyway. Francisco, I think this is it's been a very interesting topic. This,
That's fun.
yeah, a little bit of fun. Yeah.
So, yes, that's it, Jorge. Thank you so much for all the info about the tipping. And I guess we're going to see each other next week, haven't we?
What do you mean you guess?
Yes, we are. Okay,
Okay.
everybody, have a wonderful, wonderful week. We shall see you next week. Love you all.
Hasta luego,
Adios, amigos.
chicos. Hasta luego, chicos. Bye. And as usual, we want to thank all our listeners for being there every week, letting us sharing our talks. Follow us in Spanish Loops in Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcast, or your favorite platform.
And in Instagram, you can find us as the Spanish Loops Podcast, no spaces, all together. If you want to find us the quickest way, just Google Spanish Loops Podcast and you will find us. Hasta la vista, amigos.
See you next week.